Welcome. In this episode the channel Mystery Yomba, we will talk about vampires. Fascinating and legendary creatures, among the oldest in human history. Creatures that feed on blood and endowed of superhuman powers. We will talk about the most famous cases of vampires in history. Disturbing archaeological finds, and we will show you the images of vampires captured on video by the cameras of today. The stories about vampires date back to the times of ancient Egypt, finding their interpretation in the following years based on the culture of the different places. There are many doubts about their existence, but it is also true that some pathologies have been associated with vampirism, such as the porphyria, a blood disease that makes the skin very pale and excessively sensitive to sunlight, causing violent symptoms such as severe irritation and problems with the nervous system. The attraction to the blood and feeding on blood finds its place in the Renfield syndrome, a name placed by the psychologist Richard Knoll referring to the Dracula's aid. People affected by this syndrome show violent behavior. They could feed on pets and are excited in the sight of blood and in feeding it, turning in the most serious cases into real killers. Vampires. The scientific community has no clear position on this. Several studies of forensic psychiatry link the violence of these individuals, their physical, psychological and behavioral disorders as related to clinical vampirism. Individuals who believe they are vampires or in other cases act like vampires. Other studies place such behaviors more simply in the category of violent or unusual behavior. Extraordinary crimes. We all learned about vampires thanks to Bram Stoker. The famous novel Dracula, a book that took inspiration from Vlad III the Impaler, born in Transylvania, a warrior and general of the Order of the Dragon who seems to have killed more than 100,000 men in his battles. His legend stems from his cruelty. It is said that it was usual for him to feast in front of the corpses of defeated enemies, in real pools of blood. Elizabeth Bathory was a Hungarian countess of 1500. She became part of the history as one of the first confirmed serial killer. It was usual for her to attract young women into her house by promising them work and gifts and then murder them in order to drink their blood. Bathory wished to defeat the inexorable passage of time, drinking young blood to rejuvenate herself. She killed more than 600 young people, and was judged and walled up alive for her crimes. One of the most famous Italian cases is that one of Vincenzo Verzeni, a serial killer of 6 women whose body was found with signs of mutilation and bites. Verzeni committed suicide in the criminal jail of Milan in 1874 under dubious circumstances. And then, there is the story of the Englishman John Haigh. The man, due to a car accident, tasted the human blood for the first time, and from that moment he began to kill, believing himself invincible, draining the blood of the corpses and then getting rid of them with the acid. He was sentenced to be hanged in Wandsworth prison. Another chilling story is that one of Peter Kurten, also known as the Vampire of Düsseldorf, who committed 9 murders in the early 1900s. The man affected by the Renfield syndrome used to drink the blood of his victims. He always did his crimes with a clear mind. Actually, before being arrested, he confessed everything to his wife, so that she could report him to the police and then collect the bounty placed on him. Perhaps some of you remember the case of Nicolas Claux, also known as the Vampire of Paris, who confessed of drinking the blood and eating the flesh of corpses in the morgue where he worked as an assistant, and dug up the bodies in cemeteries with the same intent. A lover of satanic practices, he was catched for the killing of a man he met in 1994 on a web chat. Over the years, there are several archaeological finds that have been linked to the vampire myth. From the excavations of Papericon, Bulgaria, a medieval skeleton of a 40-year-old man has been discovered, dating from the 13th century, remarkably preserved with a metal stake driven into his chest. In Drawsko, Poland, there is a cemetery for vampires. A terrifying place discovered by researchers who have found a series of buried skeletons with scythes on their necks and giant stones stuck in their mouths. Similar findings have been made in Italy and Ireland. Still skulls with a stone stuck in the mouth. A popular culture custom for the burial of vampires, to prevent him to bite again. There are many vampire communities in the world, and each country has its associations and the phenomenon is growing. But the largest vampire community is located in New Orleans. The blood drinkers. The practice is legal and is carried out with the consent of donors who offer their blood for free. In the course of history there have been countless cases of sightings of vampires or presumed vampires, but it has never been easy to document them with reliable evidences. More recently, technology has helped us capture some shocking cases of vampires on video. The first video was caught by two boys during a night hike in the forest. Recording their journey, they suddenly come across a strange creature, in what appears to be a vampire intent on eating. The noises of the two boys attracted the attention of the creature, terrorizing the two youngs, forcing him to escape. This is a video captured by CCTV cameras in a shop where a pale-skinned man dressed in black walks past a mirror and his image is not reflected. Although another man had passed in front of the same mirror a few seconds earlier and that everything else in the shop, including other occupants, is well reflected. The man dressed in black remains invisible for the mirror. This video was done in a Russian restaurant, during a violent argument between a customer and the staff of the restaurant. The man in the video appears to show superhuman strength during the fight. But even more disturbing, once again, the image of the man is not reflected by the mirrors of the restaurant, causing the panic of the present people. This video shows a boy exhibiting his vampire skills, showing his metamorphosis. In a first video, the young man attempts metamorphosis but seems to complain of a decline in strength that prevents him from making the transformation. In a second scary video, however, the boy completes his transition from human to vampire, showing exaggerated canine's teeth and a demonic face. and we came to the conclusion of this video. I guess each of you has your own idea. Leave it in a comment and tell me, is the legend real? Give a like and subscribe to the channel. Mystery Iomba. Other videos are coming soon. Don't forget to share these fascinating stories with friends. See you at the next mystery.